Hey. What are you doing? Hey, wait, wait, wait.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, everybody. Go ahead, Austin. Do your intro.
The intro. Most time I just wing it, but it's a pleasure to be here tonight with you guys. We have another not generational gap live. This is our little never put a title on it still.
I don't know if you're watching with us live. Go ahead, tag some people in so we can get a nice crowd like last week. And if you want, give us some a name for this experience.
Yes, if you're watching, be sure to throw a comment and tag some friends. Show that you're here. We love to talk and interact with the crowd. We want to talk to you specifically, give information that's relevant to you, that means something to you by us for you.
Really, that's
Might
what
need to get into marketing. That was kind of a little run there. That was kind of off the,
it
as they
sounds
say,
like
off
Damon
the.
John's
Oh,
FUBU for us by us.
yikes. Oh, might get copyrighted. But today, not to just ramble on and talk too much. I know the room is kind of just developing. Again, started a little later than I wanted to. That's on me today, and I'll acknowledge that. But today we're talking about something very interesting. I think a lot of times we look at the journey, but what do you do when you're about to go on a journey?
You gotta put a plan together, I
You got to
guess.
put a plan together. What do you need? You need a backpack. You need some tools to walk that journey. And I think when it comes to creating change in your own life, that tool set is your mindset. And you have to have tools to get through certain obstacles that you know you're going to find along the journey, right? Change isn't always easy, but a lot of times change is necessary. So, how do you walk that boundary when it's not fun, easy, or always the most forgiving and well received? How do you prepare to undertake that journey? Because just like we talk about communication, when you get better at communication, that's going to be a change.
True.
And like we always talk about, sometimes people aren't prepared to handle that change. They're caught off guard because communication is such a, I don't want to say forgotten art, but not as much of a forefront art that a lot of people work on, a skill that people always want to improve on, right? You want to go to the gym, you want to get stronger. Who wants to just speak better? For a lot
Right.
of people, that's not on their
Hey,
top
Nancy
three.
Hughes, welcome back. If you're back,
Hi, Miss Nancy. This is one of the superstars. One of the favorite
she's
people.
one of your
I would like
superstars.
to see her in the chat. Miss Nancy's here. I know it's gonna be a good stream. I
I
know
love
it's gonna be a
that.
good stream.
Oh, Nancy. That's awesome.
So yeah, I would say a lot of people, you don't think about communication as something that's a skill that you even
You're
want to
welcome.
improve upon. But that being said, I think that knowing that if you do want to get better at communication for people that are here, right, for those lucky few who want to level their communication up to that next level, like we always talk about, it is not always the most easy to receive. But as it is received, it gets more appreciated and then it spreads and people want to take part. But in that beginning part, how do you prepare for that journey is what we're going to talk about today. How do you take the first step of 1,000 miles?
And I think it could be applied for communications, but the reason I was excited for Nancy is even when I work with her on Pilates, like if I say I want to do something in her mind, she'll take like however many steps backwards to prepare me for that activity or that thing I want to do. So I think it's important that although we're talking and our focus is communications, really when you're trying to do any type of change, the things that we're sharing today could be relevant for all of that. And thank you who else just joined. Go ahead and tell us your name and where you're watching from. That would be awesome. But today's really again how to change in the first step of 1,000 miles.
First step of 1,000 miles, right? The quote everybody always uses in all the inspirational, every journey starts with every journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step or some culmination of those words and whatever way they want to say, if they want to say they created the quote or Lao Tzu.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little thing because last week we were on a few minutes early, and even though, like Nancy, like I don't even know, I'm gonna text you after this because I don't know what you wanted, but we did have a little competition about whoever tagged the most people to bring them in because we had a nice audience. You don't have to tag people again this week, Nancy, because you did tag a whole lot. You get honorable mention. But whoever else is joining, if you want to tag and invite people in that you think could have benefit from a conversation with a mother and her son on difficult topics around communication and things of that nature. But tonight, even though we're talking about, again, the frame is communication, maybe what we can do is we can walk through like a specific scenario that parents and children, or not parents, but parents and their kids might face as it comes to communication, maybe around some complicated converse or topics, you know. So not sure what the topic is going to be. It could be driving. It could be, you know, posts that people put on like they put on social media. I know that was a hot topic for us, is that like when you make decisions and you're communicating out on social media, I think people will think, oh, it has no impact, but it does have an impact. And not only does it have an impact, thanks to us, whoever has joined, but having those conversations about when your kids are posting, that then becomes like, it gives you some types of it can become like addictive, because it's the need for the likes and the follows and the shares. Hey, Crystal, thank you for joining. So, when we're talking about this whole idea of changing, maybe we should use something like addiction to social media, because I think that's real. And it does deal with communication, because you are communication in different modalities. You could be communicating through video chat, you could be communicating, but not so much what the kids are doing. It's more about having the conversation
Okay, so can
with
we?
your
Sorry, man.
child in reference to changing their behavior on social media. I think that's relevant.
So how about this? We'll go through the points. We'll go through the points and give people the strategy that we can give some real world application at the end for how this might look like when applied to a real conversation or a scenario that might be a little more real than abstract. So
Okay.
we'll go through it. We'll give them the points, give them the strategies that when we go through the solution, how do we frame this strategy? They can follow along and see how it changes from good versus bad, and they'll be able to understand and follow us a little bit more. So to start, right? So to get into it, so we can get to the application. The first point, the first step I would give you in that path for communication, in this first step of 1,000, is give yourself a fighting chance. Put yourself in the best situation to have a successful change. And I'm going to use a perfect example. If you know, you have to go to the gym, make it easy for yourself. Put the shoes out, put the clothes out, get your outfit ready, get your workout planned, have your food that you need, your things laid out so it's easier to give yourself a better chance for change. Humans aren't built for change, right? We talk about this all the time. Humans are habitual. We like doing the same thing, not the same thing, but we like what we're comfortable with. Comfort zones exist for a reason. Survival
Yeah.
rise, it probably existed for a reason, right? Stay where you're comfortable. But that being said, in the world that we live in now, it becomes very easy, like we were talking about, even within this whole conversation of change, it becomes very easy to get stuck in those habits. So give yourself the best chance to break those habits, because it's not just what you're thinking about. Like we talk about, this is humanity. This is something that we all have inside of us. So don't think that you're just exempt and you're just, a lot of people, I'm not going to tell people, talk down and speak about your situation, but for most people, you're not just going to be the outlier who can just make a change one day and stick to it forever without changing anything else in your life. Most people need to create the best environment for that success.
And I think, in addition to that, giving yourself a fighting chance, something that's important is like mentally is a part of that, especially with communication, because this literally just happened yesterday with me and someone. We were talking and I was like, you didn't respond to my text message, right? And it was a difficult conversation. And with difficult conversation with me, I use humor. And that's a sticky thing unless you really know that person. But I like use humor, and it went back and forth. But like for me, that was a defense thing of giving myself the best chance scenario, was making like a joke out of it. But I had a relationship with that person. But that giving yourself a chance, I like you say the shoes, but mentally, I think you have to do some stuff to prepare too for those changes.
For sure. Yeah. Go into a change fully aware of what you are doing. Give yourself a fighting chance. Don't try to make changes on a whim, right?
Right.
Plan them out. Give yourself a plan. Give yourself a strategy. Okay, when I can hold on to this is my don't make everything have to be difficult. And even within that, don't reinvent the wheel. A lot of changes you want to make, people have made before, right?
That's true.
Look to what people have done. What makes this easier? How else do people establish this, right? We talk about even within the gym, right? Maybe you're someone who wants to eat more. I know I am. Wow. No, I'm just
Oh,
joking.
and I want to
know
eat less.
I know I am. So if I'm someone who wants to eat more, right? Look at what other people who have bulked up have done.
Why can't there be an exchange? Why can't I just go and give you some?
Got it. It wouldn't feel as good.
Why?
You wouldn't feel the same excitement when you look in the mirror.
Yes,
when you work for those muscles, you feel like,
yes, I would. We would have
flex.
to just do the exchange. How many? Give me a number one if you wish you could do a fat exchange. No, I'm kidding, but not kidding. I guess you don't want fat though. You want muscle, so it wouldn't be a good exchange.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you all who are watching. I appreciate y'all. But I love that. The first step we're saying is give yourself the best chance for success. Hey, Sam.
Gotta do the turnaround. Sorry.
Are you gonna really write it up there? How about this? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna just put it in the chat. Give yourself, what is it? Give yourself
the best chance for success.
The best chance for success. And again, we talked about putting the sneakers near the bed, doing all the things.
And then within communication, like we talked about, mentally prepare yourself, mentally give yourself a chance to be successful within that situation. If you know, like you said, to do a conversation where you may need things to defuse it, right? Or maybe I shouldn't approach this person at this exact time. Or when you're trying to make a change, right? If you know you're trying to be more assertive and you know someone has a habit to make you feel small, maybe don't go for them right away. Don't try to tackle that beast right away.
Right.
Give yourself a chance. Let yourself warm up with people who want the best for you. Whenever I want to make a change, whenever I try something new, I always give it to I try to send out people that are close to me. I give myself the best chance to be successful by going to people.
Yeah, like that speech you got for the mayor.
Like a speech I have for the mayor. And if we have time at the end, I might have to
read the speech.
I might have to read the speech. I might, if you stay to the end, I might have to read.
We've been trying to get this speech that he requested from you.
Speech to the mayor.
To the mayor. If I know the mayor.
Sidebar.
Anyway, so let's go to the second point.
So let's jump to the second point. So now you've given yourself the best chance. What else do you need to be prepared for on this journey before you even take your first step? You got to prepare for, I'll tell you one thing, discomfort.
Sam wants to hear she wants to hear the speech.
I will definitely deliver. I have it prepared.
He's got the speech. Listen, he's got the speech.
I'm ready.
So prepare, and what I say is get comfortable feeling uncomfortable.
Right. Like we talked about, humans are habits of change, right? So if you know we're habits of change, why do we constantly think that change is going to be easy? We constantly fall into this trap of, this is just going to happen. Not saying that it can't, and you should be optimistic. But I think you got to sometimes be aware that, and this was a hard thing to learn for me, life in itself is not easy.
It's not, because right now, y'all, let me tell y'all, I had bought some cheesecake, right? Really trying to stop eating sugar. And I was like, man, Austin had an agreement about we're going to try to change some stuff up. That's why that sparked this conversation today. And he was like, I'm going to eat the last slice of cheesecake. Yo, it broke my heart.
That one was good. Sorry.
Did you really just say that?
Sorry. Bad timing. I
that was horrible timing. Anyways, and then y'all listen, it wasn't like he took the cheesecake and left. No, what he did was he's like, I'm going to eat this cheesecake, and like started eating it in front of me.
No. I don't think I did. I didn't know. I put it back. I put it back.
You did not put it back.
I ate it later. I know I came back. I came back. I put it. So I took it.
Now you telling the untruth in front of the people.
So when happened? So when I originally turned around, because I had the goulash and the cheesecake, and I turned around with the goulash and ate that. I took that out to my car, but I took the cheesecake and I put it back in the fridge on the top shelf, and I came back about 2 hours later and finished it off. Didn't need to tell you that because I feel weird telling you now, because I know you did care about the cheesecake, but that is how it did go down. But yes, prepare for that discomfort. That wasn't comfortable, but that's what change is.
And this sugar thing is no joke. But what I do realize, like I haven't bought cookies in the house, haven't bought cake into the house. But I do know when I get stressed, I revert back to the sugar. But anyway, so we got to prepare for the discomfort.
Being prepared to be uncomfortable, right? I want to make changes, making this change, right, of becoming who I want to be within my speaking. It's not comfortable. It wasn't easy. It doesn't just fall into place. And right. I don't think it should. I don't think anybody expects it to, but we do.
Wait, what did she say? She said, "I know you did care about the cheesecake." I did care about that
I know it
cheesecake.
was slightly important, so I'm not gonna expound on it too much.
Oh my
But
gosh.
no, I think that we don't believe, but then we get hurt when it doesn't happen easy. So the question becomes, did you really believe it was gonna be easy?
Well, I think the thing about the discomfort is where the hype is. So, like, every time you have to do something hard, and the moment I'm thinking about, so this fall, and I've been talking about this a lot with people, is I did this big gala. And I've done events before, but when I walked into the convention center and was like, "Oh, dag, what did I say yes to?" The day it was like 2 days before the event, I walked into the event menu in the convention center and I was like, "Yo, this is ain't no turning back." It was uncomfortable, but then the next day at 4:57 when the doors opened, it was like, whew, but that was uncomfortable, but I was mentally prepared for that, right? And I had my plan A, plan B. And I think that's the other piece when you're preparing for discomfort, you need a plan wrapped around that. You can't just say I'm going to have discomfort, but what is your plan when do you have people in your circle, accountability when you feel like you want to fail? So for me, I know I used to have groups. Right now I'm working on a high capacity like marketplace for just for busy people who want to like need resources or support. And for me, like when I have those groups, if I feel like I'm trying to do something, I will go to that group because I know they'll lift me up. If I'm trying to walk, they'll be like walking with me. If I'm trying to exercise more, they'll be exercising with me. So having that community is really important to have as a part of that plan for discomfort. What do you do when it's a conversation though? Like, what can you plan? Because for me, one of the biggest things for me to plan for discomfort is stop making up the whole story in my head, because that's what I used to do. And I still can go there. Like we make up these stories in our head and we play out how that conversation is going to go. And then when you go into it, you almost have that story in your head and you're not preparing for the discomfort of just what are we talking about?
I think it's recognizing that your heart's gonna beat fast. I'm a communication coach. There's certain situations that still make me nervous. Nah, I don't know about nervous, but they make me
Emotional.
they're nerve tied. They're high intensity
I just thought about you
situations.
have on like a gray sweatshirt. I mean, a gray t-shirt. This might not go well for you.
Yeah, I'll be sweating a little bit. I run hot. I run hot, but I'm cool right now. But I
Okay.
think that to that point, like I'm aware that there are gonna be certain times when I do sweat, when I'm gonna be a little more high intense situations. That being said, I'm prepared for those, and I'm aware that that's gonna happen, right? And I'll say be prepared for awkwardness. Like that's gonna happen when you're working on a skill. You might have to wait a minute. I've been working on this,
But I think
and
when
that
you
might be a
tell
little
people,
weird, but
but I think when you tell people in most scenarios, if you're trying something that you haven't done before, human nature, if you're with a good group of people, they're going to support you. So I know like years right before the pandemic, I was in this leadership thing and we went on a rope course. And when I tell you, I am afraid of heights. And I feel like the older I get, I just get more and more terrified of heights. And so, but in my mind, I said, I want to do it. They agreed to do the baby course. They didn't do the high course. And even though we were only 5 and 6 feet off the ground, that was terrifying to me. But then we did a zip line, which I thought I was prepared for. And the zip line was different than the one we did in Mexico. And I got stuck on the zip line. I'm like, what kind of nightmare is this? So I was mentally preparing myself for this. But what I realized is all my team, they came to my rescue. One even violated the policy. Like he zipped to me and helped me get across. And the other lady was like, trying to help me. So I think if you tell people that you're uncomfortable or you're trying something new, people will really be in your corner to support your success. At least that's been my experience. Okay, you want to see what she says? Well, if no one knows they're in
well,
good
if
group.
one knows
Ooh,
if one knows they are in a group or good group or not is a step. Saying that that's a
that
step
is a
in and of
step.
itself.
That is true. And the only way you'll know is I guess you have to test that, right? In the safety zones.
I think this is how you can tell.
How can you tell?
You tell if you're in a group people who support you change by you see if they change themselves. You see if they change themselves. Do they ever try something new? Or do they just do their same thing, same routine, same comfort all the time? If they constantly are doing that, pretty much tells you how
I
open
don't
they are
know.
for change. I think it does.
But okay, look at you, right? Yesterday you told me I do 5 things.
I do 5 things. But within those 5 things, am I the same? No. You put me back against Austin of 2020 in basketball, I'm beating him. You put me against speaking Austin in 2020, I'm a better speaker.
So you're still trying to improve, even though you do the
I'm
same
changing
things.
I'm changing within what I don't got to do everything, but I'm changing. I'm evolving. Let me say that I'm evolving, and evolving is changing. And I noticed that I try to notice that in people I'm surrounding myself with. Are you the same constantly day in and day out? And I'm not saying you got to change every day. You don't got to cut your hair every day, do a different color every day. But if I look back at you from 3 months ago, am I with the same person? Because I know I'm not the same person. So if I'm with the same person, you're probably someone who's going to be in a period of my life, and then I'm probably going to end up doing something else. You're probably going to end up separating because, like I said, I'm someone who wants to be changing. I want to be around people who are constantly evolving and making themselves better.
And even if and so for me, I do want to push back there because I have some friends that don't do change, but they support me tremendously. Like they are, and I mean, they are literally, if I said I went back 5 years ago, they're pretty much the same as 5 years, 10 years ago.
I wouldn't I would say that they might have changed in their own personal life, but I think I still agree.
Well, I
They
can't
had
bring
to
them
have
along. No, well, I think to your point though, I can't always bring them into all of my discomfort decisions though, because I know then I'm debating with them on what I'm trying to change versus focusing on the change. So everybody doesn't have the same role. So once I'm down, I've made the decision and I'm doing the change, I know they'll support me, but I can't always bring them in as an early adapter, if that makes sense. In the road of discomfort.
And I think that's fair. I think even someone can be I have close friends like that where I probably wouldn't bring them into certain decisions to a certain point, but I recognize that that's not their role. In the beginning, it's not their role. That's my decision. Like
Right.
it's my job to change. And when I bring them along when I'm ready or hitting my stride, there's nothing to really do with them, in my opinion. Because even though you
So
can lean on people in times of support, ultimately, in the beginning, when you really don't have that much, like we talked about way before when I had my interview with Reggie, and we talked about how show your parents, you got to show your parents in that beginning stages of a dream, right? When you want to become a musician, everybody's telling you no. Well, it really might just have to be you going and preparing for that discomfort and facing that proudly.
and I think that helps you be strong. So I would love for the 5 people who are here with us, how do you like prepare for discomfort? Like go ahead and put that in the chat as we go to the next point. Like how do you prepare for discomfort? So we'll go into the third point, which is
Third point, to set yourself up for the journey of 1,000 miles is to learn to like walking.
learn to like walking.
Learn to like walking. No.
What?
You got to hear what the analogy is.
Oh,
For the
okay.
first step of a 1,000-mile journey, a key is to learn to like walking because you're going to be walking for a while.
Okay, I'm so not even following the
Okay, I'm going
point.
to change the point. The journey to getting your body in shape is to love working out. A step to that journey is to love working out.
It's to love to do the thing that you're saying you want to change.
That's what the analogy is. And for the point, I would say find the goal in pursuit of a passion. That's what I'm trying to say. You got to love working out. You'll never get to the goal. It's so far away. It's so many months
Yeah,
away.
he be so deep,
It's
y'all.
hard
How
to
many agree that he be getting deep? And I'm like, I'm not that
All right,
deep.
okay, yeah, okay. Let me
I'm
let
just
me
not that
reset.
deep,
Let
y'all.
me reset.
Anybody else
Go
that
to a
deep?
little higher level. Let me jump up real quick to a little less
No,
philosophical.
I hear what
But
you're
to that
saying
point,
now,
but to
but you
that
had to
point,
break it down for me. I'm just saying, I needed a little breakdown. What she say? She said, I'm not sure I have to love the process, but I know it's worth it. Yeah.
you gotta love or not, you gotta be comfortable walking. Let's say you got to be comfortable walking, right? I know for me, I have some things I want to do, and I know let's use basketball. Like I said, I don't do 5 things. Let's use basketball. Basketball. I want to become a better shooter. I just like I would see the NBA players, I'll see the highlights, and I'm like, I want to do that. I want to be able to just walk down the court and just make it from wherever I touch it. But you know what I had to do? Learn to like shooting. I had to learn to like shooting. I wanted to be a shooter and I hated shooting. And so I never improved. You know when I started improving? When I learned to love shooting. I love the mid-range now.
Well, I think one of the things that I've learned for myself is like, and you know this to be true. Anybody who knows me, if I'm focused on a task, so like today, I finished the draft of Defending the Unsure. I finished the draft of the book because I'm like, this book needs to be out by March 15th. So the draft is done today, but what did I do to finish the draft? I went into the crazy like focus zone. I started like 2 days ago, and I was like intense because I had written the outline and I kept writing and I kept writing, and then I was trying to do some things to get the writing done and whatever, and I was like, Latasha, you just need to stop procrastinating. And I have like 5 starts, like 5 full draft starts. And then finally today I was like, no, you are not going to start again. You're going to push through it and get a draft done. So let's see here what she said. So Crystal says, check myself as to what might be the response in that difficult time and follow through. That's good. That's good. That's good. And then she says, but I have to go through the process to get to be a shooter. Like, but I have to go through the shots to be a shooter like me. Ha, she's saying she's a shooter. But I feel like, but what I'm saying is, so for me, now that, so one of the hardest changes for me was pacing myself, because I am a sprinter all day. I do the best under pressure. That's just me. And so I finished the draft. And even though I want it to be done on March 15th, I'm not looking at it tomorrow. Like, I have to take a day off. I got to step away because it will consume me and I have other things that I need to do.
Right.
Like, I didn't do my self-care today. So like, I want to do something today. So
and that's a great point to segue into the last point that I want to talk about, which is there are Miss Sam, I gotta say, Miss Sam, the way I was shooting before, if we ever do a shooting workout again, it's gonna be a much higher percentage. It's gonna be looking like NBA ready. All right. I was just playing.
Sam, if you have the room, I could send them to you. You want me to send them down there to you for a couple of days? You could test this theory. But anyways, go ahead to the last point.
So on to that last point of taking a break. When you fall off the horse, inevitably, it sounds terrible. Let me not say inevitably. For most people, you're gonna have a day where you can't follow through on change, right? Let's say you want to go to the gym every day. There might be a family emergency one day where you just can't go to the gym.
Right? Come down, Sam. Don't test me. I will give him some gas money and he'll come a driving.
I do like driving long distances sometimes.
That's a long distance.
You know, I don't know about that.
You have to stop. If you stop to see your sister, you can make it.
I don't know if I get
okay.
Tired, but
I could get you a flight.
Inevitably, right? When you fall off the horse, right? If you want to go to the gym every day, there's gonna be a day where you just can't go. It just happens. Life happens, right? You want to walk every day. There's gonna be a day where it's raining a little too hard, right? Now people will say, you know, there's never any excuses, you know, walk around your house. Again, sure, if you want to do that, be my guest. But there's just gonna be a day where you might have to rest. You might get hurt, sore, whatever it may be. You're going to fall off the horse. The key for those successful is, are you willing to get back on? Let that be the mindset of, I may not make every day, but I will not stay off the horse. If you can focus on that mindset, we talk people that are successful, right? And let's go to something that's more relevant to me. When you talk about the guys that can get the girls, it's not
always go to
it's
the
not
guys
that
can
they
get the girls.
It's not that they're maybe better, but they just may be better at dealing with rejection. Right? They're willing to get back on the horse more than you. And so because of that, they're walking the journey and you're at the starting line. And I know that's for maybe my young guys, you know what I'm saying?
Ain't nobody on here. Is that relevant to anybody listening to this tonight? Maybe the replay family.
Maybe you can understand that from a younger perspective.
I would say, I think then that ties back to Simon Sinek, understanding your why. So for me, I am very goal driven, and I didn't realize that until I started looking at, you can't not be goal driven and be in business for yourself. Like, you will make no money. And so for me, I literally had to really pace myself and focus on multiple priorities.
Right.
And I can only give so much time to those things, and I have to be okay with that. So back in the day, like, I have a training class on the 16th and the 17th, because the 17th just called me today. And then on the 18th, I'm supporting an event. So that's 3 days of events. So where I thought I had all this time, I'm like, okay, let me prepare for my one on the 16th. And I got to do a pre-meeting. And then on the 17th, I owe a proposal. And then on the 18th, I'm just a supporter facilitator. And so for all of these events that are coming up in that time frame, I still can take tomorrow off. And I feel like a lot of people don't know how to pace themselves in different entities, so they get burned out. That's why they can't get back on the horse, because sometimes they crash so hard, they hit so hard because they didn't pace themselves. I used to be, I'm telling y'all, listen, recently, this just happened in the fall. I was in October to be exact. I had signed up to do 31 miles, I think it was, in 30 days, something like that. It might have been more than that. And I was like, I could do it, but I knew I had a retreat. So I tried to bank away like 20 miles in 7 days or something ridiculous. And I wasn't working out like I was before October. So what did I do? I wound up with a air cast in an emergency room and all kinds of crazy because I didn't pace myself. And I think that, and then what happened is I had this mental model because then when I go to the ER, they're like, oh, well, you're 50 now. And I'm like, oh, I almost said that word. What you mean I'm 50 now? There are like 75-year-olds running marathons. I'm 50, but what? And so it messes with your mindset. So I will say to you, I didn't get back on the horse and go back outside and start walking again since October. Now, it doesn't mean I haven't done anything active, but it's hard when you don't pace yourself, especially when you get hurt, to not want to keep putting yourself out there like that. You know what I mean?
What is that word you were gonna? No.
I was just saying that word yesterday. I can't say the word, John.
If you know, you know. But anyway. but
if
to
you
that
know
point,
me,
and to your exact point, I was just having a conversation with a friend. I asked him, I said, how much do you work out? He said, every day, man. I'm about to start working out every day. I said, don't do that. He said, why not, man? I don't need no rest. He said, I'm strong, I'm young, I'm strong. I don't need no rest day. I said,
probably use some colorful words too.
Use some colorful words. And I said, man, I do 3 days on, 1 day off. So my muscles are getting trained once every 4 days. And I'm not saying I'm Mr. Hulk. Just give me a couple months. Then I could maybe. But I'm not saying I'm Mr. Hulk yet. But what I am saying is I feel good. I feel good. I don't feel like I'm breaking my body down. Right. But I think to your point, if you don't pace yourself, you're right. It becomes not, let me get back on the horse. You can't. Right. You can't. The horse doesn't, you can't get on it. And so to that point, yes, pace yourself. Right. But even within pacing yourself, pace yourself at a pace that you can do, not that you want to do within that, right? Because you did the extreme. But I know a lot of people who will pace themselves forever. They give themselves forever for everything. And I'm one of them. But let me tell you, this is principle. And I forgot the name of the principle. So forgive me for not.
I think I'm going to do it. It's if whatever amount of time you have, you can get the work done. That's the one you're talking about?
Stole my thunder a bit, but you can.
No, because I use that term. Hold on,
no, that is true. That's what it is. The amount of work the amount of work you do, the amount of work you have to do will fit the time you allot for it. If you give yourself a day, you'll find a way to get it done in a day. And I think the reason behind it is because your mindset changes. I didn't read the full explanation, so this is kind of off the cusp.
No, I use that when I do my business builder boot camp.
But I think the science behind it is because your mind, you put a task into the context at which it's understood to you, right? If you are saying I have a week to do this,
it's called Parkinson's law. That's the one. Yes,
I use that. If you say you have a week to do this, you'll think of a product that's reasonable to achieve in a week, right? And you'll tune that to the end goal.
But I also think you need to know yourself. So like for me, and again, this is why I had to put things in place so that I don't hurt myself. Like right now, I feel my lower back because I was sitting all day cranking out the rest of this book. So I'm like, tomorrow I need to walk. I think I'm gonna go swimming, go to the hot pool, whatever the thing is, hot tub, whatever, enjoy myself to relax, like get my body moving. Because if not, you can't consistently work on Parkinson's law. It will be a demotivator for you getting back on the horse.
You definitely can. You just have to pick better time allotment.
You cannot consistently run on Parkinson's law.
I give myself 4 days to do a muscle cycle. I'm giving myself 4 days. So I'll give a perfect example. Because I give myself 4 days, let's say I miss tomorrow.
But that's not aggressive Parkinson's law. That's what I'm saying.
But it doesn't say that in the law. It doesn't say to hurt yourself.
Now he wants to
No, I'm being serious. It doesn't say to give yourself little time.
Do I need to go to the law and see what it says?
No, but the law isn't harmful in itself, is what I'm saying.
It's not.
If you use it correctly.
If you use it correctly,
it's not harmful in itself.
Wait, let's see what they say. That's why you have to listen to your body. Crystal says, and pacing yourself, we have to remember to build back up to a pay. Exactly. So you don't hurt yourself. Because let me tell you, Crystal, what my mind be saying. Okay, girl, let me tell you what I be thinking in my mind. So, back in the day, way back in the day, I used to be really in shape and I actually did sports. I know, trip out. Like I actually broke school records for a triple jump. And so then people be telling you these stories about muscle memory. They're like, oh, if you ever did blank muscle memory, listen, I feel like there is an expiration date of muscle memory. I do. If you stop working out. Now, I don't know. I'm not a gym buff. I'm not an athletic person. I don't know about your body. But for me, I think there is an expiration date on muscle memory. The aggression of which it'll come back to you, in my opinion. What do you know about that? Muscle memory? You're too young. You've never been out of shape.
Muscle memory is a thing. I know it is a thing. I know that muscle fibers, when you have them, once you create them, once it becomes easy to recruit them again. But I know that also though that yes, your body does move though, like at an age, and if you don't have the muscles to, I'm not saying this about you, I'm saying this in general. If you don't have the muscles to have the memory in anymore at the same rate, like you can have the memory, but you just physically can't do the movements again.
Right.
You know how to do them, but you physically can't again.
I know, like the cartwheel, y'all.
The cartwheel saga.
Listen, the cartwheel. I'm gonna get this cartwheel before my birthday. I'm gonna record it so y'all can see it. Wait, what she could? She said muscle memory equal when you become a real shooter. Okay, muscle memory.
No, that is true. That is true.
I agree. I don't play basketball.
A lot of NBA players, I bet if you take them out the league for a couple years, you give them a couple.
She said, "What about a handstand?" Okay, now you're going too far. See, Sam always got to go too far.
No, but that's
she almost made me use that word.
But that's a good progression, though. But I was saying because you got to get comfortable going upside down.
Okay, let's get back to the communication hand. Okay, so now we're gonna use my cartwheel as the change, right? Like right now, I think my fear, because I also used to love roller coasters that went upside down. Now I won't even get on a roller coaster at all. But I think what you're saying here is about give yourself. Let's do a recap of the points when it comes to a change, because most people do resist change. The first thing is, she said, can help you with modification. This is what she's saying right here. Oh, it's more about routine. Okay, muscle memory with routine. And then it says down here, can help you with the modifications, promise. Okay, well, Nancy's working with me on this cartwheel. It was kind of funny. I would show y'all if I was courageous enough, but I'm not putting myself out there until I can fully do the cartwheel to show all the bloopers and blunders before. But anyways, the first thing is, thank you so much for those fun facts. Oh, here we go. Now here come Walter. Now, y'all got something to say about muscle. What do you say here? Muscle is much more. Oh, he's the one who said much more about routine. Okay, yeah. I'm confusing the people who got the post. So Walter, thank you. Muscle memory is more about routine. Thank you so much. And Sam is trying to help me with the cartwheel. But I digress. I'm always go on a tangent there. So let's go now to real life application for what we talked about today. We're talking about change. Now let's frame it up in the context of communication between an adult and their child. And I think the thing is, how do you communicate to your kid? And we could say it this way. We don't even have to say social media. How do you have a difficult conversation about a change you want to see in your Gen Z or your kid under 23 using these principles? Go ahead, communication coach.
I think it's different. I don't think this is for communicate change you want to see in somebody. I think it's for a change that you make in yourself. So this would actually be like if you were my mom and I was saying I'm set. I wanted some different boundaries. We can do that though.
Oh, okay. We want different boundaries. Okay,
so if I'm a younger person saying I want a little bit more freedom, right? So let's go through the points and say how they would look.
As a parent,
give yourself the best chance. I'm the young person,
and I'm the parent. So how do we both prepare? So I think we can walk through these on how because it's an internal change preparing for that conversation.
Okay. Now, I don't know how you would know about this conversation ahead of time. I don't know how that scenario quite works.
Okay, so break it down. Go ahead.
Right. Give yourself the best chance as the younger person, right? So first, let's find a time when we're not stressed, right? We're not going to catch you right when you get off of work, right? That's not really going to make sense. Also, give yourself the best chance for the conversation to go well. Includes also, right? Make sure that the boundaries you're asking for, you're prepared to handle. Right? If I'm asking to stay out later, I've demonstrated that I can make smart decisions on when when it's time to come home and when it's time to leave certain situations, right? Give yourself the best chance. This is all the work you do before, right? This is all the work before the real change happens. This is like okay, I want a car. Okay, I've been saving up money. I've been doing the steps. I'm preparing the steps to take the test. I got my permit test. These are all those things, right? So I would have done all these things. But like as far as the conversation itself, I'm not gonna catch you right off of work when you're stressed. I'm not gonna catch you when you're making dinner. I don't want you distracted. I want us to be a conversation we can actually sit down face to face and have an authentic, clear, but whole conversation. I'm not talking to half of you. I'm talking to the full attention span. So that's what I would do as a younger person, right? Finding the best time or the best chance, an even playing field, if you will.
And I think for parents that are super busy, I think one of the things parents can do is to start establishing as your kids get older, what like have agreements on what those ideal times are.
Right.
So for some, it might be while they're cooking. For some, it might be while we're in the car. Because I know our parents who have said, if my kids are in the car, we're trapped together so nobody can get mad and walk away because we're driving down the highway. So I think it's one of those conversations from a parent perspective, really have an agreement with your kids and in your family when are good times to have uncomfortable conversations around change.
Right. Like when you talk about a boss with an open door policy, right? Making that establishment clear that you can come to me and talk, right? We talk because just like give yourself the best chance, you can give yourself the best setting. You can make a setting. You can make the situation better or more favorable, which is the point. I guess I just reused the point. But
Right,
to
give
that
yourself a good
point,
chance.
even as an adult, if you establish things, I know a lot of kids who don't think they can speak to their parents. They don't think, and even for me when I was younger, y'all made it very clear I could always speak to you guys when you wanted, but like going there to wake dad up to have a conversation was always weird. Like
But I
that
think
felt
it goes to your second point, which is
uncomfortable.
preparing
That
for the
felt
discomfort.
uncomfortable.
Because, okay, so as a child, and then I would like to get the parents' perspective.
Prepare for discomfort. Right? Saying I want more boundaries. I'm prepared this conversation might be uncomfortable. I'm prepared this conversation might be more vulnerable than I like. I may have to explain certain actions that I'm not proud of, but I'm okay with that because this is what may be necessary for this change to happen. Right? I may not be comfortable. Maybe within this change, getting more boundaries, there comes more responsibilities. I'm prepared for that. I'm prepared for it to then be okay. You can come over whenever you want, but dinner's on you. Dinner is up to you.
Why he trying to see? He trying to throw some shade at
No,
what
that's not
happens in our
shade.
house. I
That's
got you dinner yesterday because I wasn't going to,
But
but then I
that's
thought about
realistic.
last week and I said I really do be leaving him out there dinners on your own when you and I home. But I think preparing for that discomfort is also from the parent standpoint. If your kid has the courage to come to you, that understanding for both of y'all, it could be uncomfortable.
And even past the conversation, I think as a parent, understanding that, this kid wants change. Maybe they want more freedoms, and I may not be fully like, oh, super hype with this. But if you know, or fully on board with it, but if you know that this is something that's necessary for the best of both of you, even though you may not be comfortable with it, being prepared to be uncomfortable and be like, whoa, I have, you know what I'm saying? To your point, I'm not going to always immediately reach out and call and say, where are you? Tell me where you are and ask for all information. Sometimes it might just be a check and that's all I know. And I'm uncomfortable, but I have to trust and be okay and have faith this change is going to work.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like that, I think sometimes it's not going to be easy. And even as a younger person, there are certain times when it's like you have more freedom. And within that more freedom, it makes it.
But do you feel like you're a boundary pusher? Because I think you are. Like, I think you do ask the questions. Let's see what she says. As an auntie, I remember I was once that age and I had the same feelings or concerns. Be open to have and listen for the difficult. I agree, Crystal. Be open and ready to hear. And I think as an auntie or as a parent, you have to commit and really hear what your kids are saying. Because I think sometimes we can mess up the process as the adult. Because we know it's uncomfortable, but we sometimes still feel like we need to be in charge. I can't really say that's my testimony anymore, but I have friends that feel like they still need to be in control and not let the discomfort be on both sides.
Right.
Right. Or not an opportunity to throw in the face of why they're not prepared if they're trying to show you progress that they're ready for the boundaries to change.
Right.
Let's see what my mom says. She says, How do you stop the change as I get older? I don't like driving, but I like used to it. I like going places. Mom, Uber is beautiful.
No, I don't
I'm
think I
kidding.
don't think
You
you
don't
can
have to do
stop change.
Uber.
I don't think you can stop change. I think you have to maybe relook at change. I think you reframe change. You don't stop change, you reframe change. You don't like driving, but
Nah.
it gives you an opportunity to now get to have more conversation because now you can ask, hey, I don't like driving. Can you take me here?
Well, if you don't like driving, wait, she doesn't like driving at all. I thought you meant driving at night. So how do you stop change? As I get older, I don't like driving. I like I used to, but I like going places. Well, I would suggest in this scenario, there are probably things that are uncomfortable to get connected to. Because I really do believe that there's like lots of groups and stuff that you can plug into. Or if you don't mind going to all the places that I be going, I don't mind, but you know,
That's what I said.
I don't
I
mind
said
driving.
reframe the change as an opportunity. It's an opportunity to now get close with my family because I can ask them to take me places. Which sounds like, oh, I'm gonna ask them because they may not always say yes. I'm in this film, so it's weird talking about it like because I am
I
within
know it was really
the
bad when I
family.
said Uber,
But
but
that being said, like that gives you an
when I
opportunity
don't
to
want to
now
drive,
get
I
a
take Uber.
chance to connect with family that you may have not had a chance to connect on that deep of a level. Now, hey, do you want to take me here? That's an opportunity. But I don't think you can stop change. I think change is inevitable. Like we can't stop the seasons. We can't, no matter
Well, and
how hard
I've
you want
learned to reframe things that I don't want to do that I used to like to do. Like, so for example, I know for me, I love being around my family all the time, especially like my kids. I love being around y'all all the time, but I had to reframe that because I don't want you to feel like you have to be there for me. Like I want y'all all to live your lives. You know what I'm saying? I want you all to live your lives. So I'm like, what are times that we can come together and really cherish that time together? And I had to change the mental model there because I can't change that. Like I want y'all to enjoy that. So I would say for you, mom, especially since like I'm still working and you're working, whatever, it's like, how can you get connected to groups that are active, that are doing a lot of things that you like to do, and don't limit yourself on the opportunities of meeting new people at any age. I know for me right now, a change that I don't like is that I know there's some things that I am going to be focusing on for the next, I don't even know how long this project is going to take to launch, but it's going to be some uncomfortable conversations and going through a project in a different way than I like to. And so it's going to be very uncomfortable, but the goal is worth it. And that's the thing I would even say to you, mom. I would say if I'm meeting these new groups and I can do stuff, ultimately the goal is if I want to do more things, I have to say that it's worth it to like be uncomfortable meeting new people.
Right.
That's what I would say.
And so
Just please let me know where you're going. Cause see, she be going places sometimes back in the day when she find these groups, and then she's better now. Put her on Life 360. I'm kidding.
I
But
would
not
say
really.
so on to this next point, right? Finding the goal in pursuit of passion. I think as a young person, right, if I'm saying I want more boundaries, and I want to go back to the point of just staying out later because it's really easy. It's a very common scenario. I want a later curfew.
Is it?
Finding, of course, people want to, like
Okay.
a lot of people have things they think they want to stay out for. But this goes to this point, find the goal in pursuit of passion. It's typically what I would say is it's not, hey, mom, I want to stay out later. It's, hey, mom, I like doing this, which requires me to be out a little later. Is that okay? Does that make sense? Saying I want to stay out just for the sake of staying out is not gonna set you up to have it's not about you can't explain it.
But I think the thing too is, even with kids, is understanding, and this is a good thing when it comes to boundaries, depending on your age when you're asking that question, because at the end of the day, like my Uncle Eddie always says, after a certain time of night, your chances of bad things happening, it goes up significantly. It does, because it's a whole new group of people that be out in these streets after a certain period of time. And so, from when a kid is asking for that boundary of can I stay out later, I think it depends on the age of the kid, and the parent. Sometimes parents know better than their kids about how much you can release the rain. So, like for all of my kids, you guys didn't have curfews, but I knew who y'all were to think y'all wasn't completely wilding out. So staying out to a certain point, the risk factor of y'all doing certain things where you may not have come home, I feel it was lower than some other people that I might know. So then they might not feel as comfortable as parents.
Right. And I think it all is contextual, right? Communication, I wish, even though I talk about in my ad, which will be released soon, that there are logic and there are absolute things for sure. But I'll say there always is that element of context, right? Every scenario is not going to be the same. I think if you look within the framework, even though the scenario may not be the same, as a younger person, you can ask them, why do you need to, like, why do you want to stay out later? And I'll tell you, as a young person, I probably wouldn't have an answer for you.
Right. Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have an answer for you. So I think even within that, you can say, okay, well, what is the passion, the reason that you just want to? I don't think they would have an answer.
Right.
But I think that that pretty much solves that even within what we're talking about.
Right.
Because you highlight the fallacy of that. But as someone who, if you are younger and you want to stay out later, that's what I would say. We talk about finding the goal in pursuit of the passion. Figure out why it is you actually want to stay out later. And that's what you're really asking for.
Right.
And that goal of staying out later is what happens.
How do you keep getting my pen?
It stays on. It stays right.
Oh, okay.
I haven't moved it from here. And then on to that last point of fall off the horse, jump back on. This is interesting. It's going to be a little interesting when you talk about the idea of boundaries staying out later, but fall off the horse and stay back on. If you are given that gift, right, you're given that freedom, right, to, oh, you can go out later now. And then something happens where you abuse it or it's suddenly taken away. Be willing to say, okay, what can I do to get back that freedom? Understand that you may fall off that horse of, no, now you give me your car keys, now you can't go out. But be willing to then say, okay, I know I messed up, I made a mistake. How can I write this and get back on the correct path? Because that is what getting back on the horse is. How can I write a mistake?
Right. And I would even go back to what my mother asked, even when you start to connect with groups, right? You might get with one group and you're like, this is a hot mess. I do not like these people. All they do is blank, 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 and they whatever. Then you might need to get, because again, I know this is my mother. She's a young senior citizen, meaning that she ain't gonna want to do some of the things that some of the seniors her age might want to do. So I think getting back on that horse might say, okay, instead of hanging out with this age group, I got to drop down 10 years. And that's the group I want to hang out with. Or I might need to drop down 15 years because that's the group that's doing stuff I want to do and not feel uncomfortable. Because again, even in those scenarios, I think when you're honest about what you desire and you're a proactive person that likes to do things, people are more receptive of saying, I want to hang out with that person because they're fun. So I'm retired, they're retired, we could do these things. And even with that kid, if you set up boundaries and say, okay, well, I'm not going to say you can stay out as long as you want to, but you need to be back by midnight. And then if they do good with midnight, then maybe we say 12:30 or 1 o'clock. Or there might be a boundary of you need to be home before 3 o'clock in the morning. Whatever those things are, just have those, be clear with that. Be clear with that. Okay, hold on. Let's see here. Accountability is important to parent to child and child to parent. I agree that accountability, because if you have an agreement that you're going to do something and that agreement is not held up, then there needs to be a conversation about that.
Right.
But I know I keep bouncing back between that and my mom. But even with that, when you personally say you want to try something different and you want to do that change, you got to keep saying to yourself, you know what? The reason I want to do this is because I want to do blank. So my why allows me to say I'm not going to connect with everybody. But there's 8 billion people in the world. So I'm going to connect with somebody. You know what I mean? So I say that to say, and all these scenarios would change. I think one of the hardest things is understanding that why factor, and that's going to help you get back on the horse, to use your term. She said, it's okay to pivot. Yep, it is okay to pivot. And I agree. Communication is a huge part of it, especially when you're talking to your kids. And I think the key to this, when we're communicating change, when it's around boundaries or whatever these things are, is realizing that your role is changing too as your kids get older. Like, right.
Right. And being okay with that, right? Going back to being okay with that discomfort, being okay that my role is changing, but it does not mean my role is gone. And I will say, as a kid, if you're a cool parent and you're a cool person to be around, your kids will want to be around you. Which sounds terrible if you're any parent who kids don't want to come around. But if you're a cool parent, you're a cool person, your kids will want to come around and spend time with you. They will. Even if your role changes in their life. When you go from that transition from, like, mentor figure to, parent/friend, if you want to make that transition kindly, if you're a cool person, there's a good chance that transition will go in your favor. So don't worry if like you're to your point, if your role changes and all of a sudden they don't call you every day, every day. If you're important to them, which most parents are, if you're a good person, they'll find time and they'll make time. And even if they don't make time now, at some point it will happen. Like you
Right.
have faith that at some point when they realize how important and a cooler person you are, they will come back. I know I said that in Mom Prom. Like they'll come back. Your son will come back. Your daughter will come back. It just give us time. But if you are cool, it'll happen.
Yeah. So I think change again. This is a cool conversation about change. Hold on, what she say? Ah, I used to tell my kids all the time, I'm cool. Now they know. See how that's funny. Yes, I'm cool. And if you don't think I'm cool, your friends think I'm cool. Then you mad that I'm hanging out with your friends. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, that sounds crazy.
But well, I'm saying like connecting because, like, but I will say that this has been, I feel like, another good night of conversation.
Another interesting night
And
for
if there's
sure.
any topics that you would like for us to talk about, again, parents talking to their kids specifically, that's what we really like to frame this conversation around. Today, our topic was a start to change, the first step to 1,000 miles. We're going to do them quickly to recap. Again, go ahead, do them really quickly.
And so for the recap, it's 4 main points. Give yourself the best chance to be successful. Give yourself a playing field where you can win. Create an environment that allows you to create this change effectively and realistically. Prepare for discomfort. Recognize that life isn't easy, change isn't easy, and humans don't naturally like change. But being okay, being uncomfortable is going to allow you to walk that journey proudly and begin to even walk it and walk it through. Find the goal in pursuit of passion, right? Don't always look at the goal. Like we said, if you want to walk 1,000 miles, you better like walking. Or if you're not going to like walking, be comfortable walking, right? You have to get
the goal of walking.
aware of that, right? You learn to enjoy the process, which sounds weird, but and people always say, love the process. But loving the process genuinely means loving the process. Whatever's gonna get to your goal, you better find at least some enjoyment or be okay with it. And I know I just kind of spoke in a circle. And the last part being fall off the horse, but be prepared to jump back on.
Get back up again, get back up again, get back
Because
up
at some
again.
point, like we said, you may fail, but it's those people that are willing to fail and try again, try again, try again. Have a bad group, find a better one, right? Make a mistake, try to right that mistake and keep getting on the right path. Those are people that are ultimately going to be able to stay on the change.
And you deserve the benefit of the change.
You do. People deserve change, and especially if you put the work in for it. So going back to the beginning point, why you can't just because you deserve a change when you work for it.
I still would like the fat transfer. I'm just saying it transfers from fat to muscle. Okay, I bet you that's a thing, but we're not gonna go on that. Thank you everybody for joining.
Where that at?
Huh?
I might need where that at? Go
I
straight
bet
to
you
muscle.
I'm sure if you go to certain countries right now, they could do it. But anyways, thank you so much for joining us tonight on our conversation. We'll be back Austin will be back next Wednesday.
Am I reading my thing?
Oh, y'all want to hear his speech to the mayor? Oh my gosh, this is so random. We only have 3 people here, so if y'all want to tag people in, do y'all want to hear the speech?
You don't tag people in. It's gonna be underground. If you know, you know. Don't gotta tag nobody in. Don't tag nobody in. You guys,
it's gonna be Austin's
you guys
speech.
waited. You guys,
she said speech.
This is my appreciation.
Do you want some background
to
music?
You guys. No, I don't need any background
Okay.
music because I want you guys to picture this is Mayor Byron Brown saying this speech. Oh,
See you later. Have a good day.
Are you gonna listen? Oh, he's gonna. Oh, I got my dad. Well, now I gotta really be serious because. All right.
Oh, you don't have to be serious on your mom. Thanks.
No, it's it's another level. All right.
Another level.
Let's start the speech. What does it take to change? Maybe it's time. We see the rock in the river over years become smooth. Decades of wind turn even the largest rocks to sand. What does it take to change? Maybe it's pressure. Millions of tons weigh down on carbon, combining with heat to make diamonds. And without pressure, we'd be wearing charcoal wedding rings. What does it take to change? Money and resources are always a common answer. With enough funding, you can turn even the smallest shack to a palace fit for a king. And when we look back at these scenarios, the answer becomes clear. What it takes to change is commitment. The water needs to commit for years to a single path to make a dent on a stone. The unrelenting pressure of earth weighs without rest. And you must commit money, time, and energy to convert a house to a home. Without commitment, change has no place. Buffalo, we're in need of a change. I made my commitment to change this city for the better when I took office 17 years ago, and the job is not finished. Buffalo's a city lost on its path for greatness. And too often do we see young people making life-changing decisions without life-changing experience that our community elders have. But with no platform, advice falls on deaf ears. How do we bridge this gap? A gap that's unseen, but surely not unfelt. So here I stand as your mayor, asking a favor. Not for me, but for the very city we have the honor to call our home. Our home that we're all so desperately needed in. And in light of last year's events more than ever, elders, I plead, keep the young ones in your circle guarded, lest the waters of life sweep them away. Speak not for the sake of chores or needs, but as a compass to guide these youth to the greatness we destine them for. And young ones, be weary not to let the zeal of your youth be an excuse for negligence. See the aching knees of the old ones around you and recognize that the knees, feet, and hearts ache because they have traveled long. Seek the knowledge of those people urgently because tomorrow will always be a mystery. And along this, also remember it only takes one no to change a life. Let us use these conversations, these wells of knowledge and the spark of youth to continue to exalt Buffalo to the greatness it can be. So to close, I'll ask you all one more time. What does it take to change Buffalo? Time, pressure, or maybe money? No. To change Buffalo, all we need is us. Thank you. Come on now. Come on now.
Wait.
Come on now. Get it to come on, Mr.
Okay, so if anybody knows Mayor Brown, you can send him the clip.
Come on, let's get it. Speechwriter 2023.
She said
Let me know.
snap, clap.
I got keynotes in the vault. Let me know. You need a keynote? Hit me up. I got you. Low prices. All right.
I know he doesn't even use any cheater tools. Like
I don't use any AI. I just sit down and write it out, and I try to put my emotion in it.
You really did put your emotion.
Put my emotion in it. I really have to channel. What would I say if I had 17 years as a mayor of Buffalo?
Okay, Mayor. Okay, so I hope that Mayor Brown will tag him in this. So yeah, if any of y'all know him, y'all could just that one piece. Look, now the crowd is going up. What y'all tagging the Brown, tagging the mayor? So Mayor Brown, if you're watching this, that is your speech
if you're watching
sample
tonight,
that you
Mayor
asked,
Brown.
that you requested from Austin.
Austin for mayor. Oh no, I don't want to be mayor. I'm okay. I don't think I need that much power. I know my work ethic. Buffalo would be in trouble. I'd be late to too many meetings. I might be late to getting
Your
sworn in
inauguration?
my inauguration. I might be late to my inauguration. Running through the back door.
At least you know where your gifting is.
My gifting is not in government.
Your gifting is to write the speech, not to deliver the speech.
Oh no, I could deliver it, but it depends. That's where the wall gets a little different. So that delivery ain't free.
Okay.
Come on.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much. We appreciate y'all joining us tonight. We're gonna put our outro music on. Thank you again. We'll be back again next Thursday. And for right now, we're just gonna play our outro music, and I'll try to have a not a crazy song. I don't even know. I think this is a crazy song. Crazy song? Yeah, it is. Oh wait, is it? Yes, it's that crazy song. Let's do this. What's the Dusty Deck?
All right, it was a pleasure to be here tonight with you guys. Hopefully, you guys learned something as much as I did. I appreciate you guys. And I hope that you guys all have a good day. And I'll see you guys next week, Wednesday at 1 p.m. Thank you again.
Hey.
Have a good night. I gotta run.
Hey. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Walter. Thank you, Nancy, for all the y'all who joined us tonight. God bless.